As the Senate debates the SAVE Act and changes to U.S. voting, a new CBS News poll shows the idea of needing photo ID to vote has wide support nationally. But that does not mean that everyone sees problems with the current voting system. CBS News Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, joins us now to break down the new data. Anthony, great to see you. So give us a sense here. Do Americans actually see fraud and problems with the current voting system?
So some do, but it's not that widely held in opinion. It's very partisan. I'm going to get to that. But let me start with this, Elaine, because what you said at the top, do people favor showing a photo ID to vote? That's 80%. It does get wide support. And if I break that down by partisanship, yeah, this is what you'd expect, right? Republicans are talking a lot about the SAVE Act, the bill, et cetera, 95%. But it's 2/3 of Democrats and it's a lot of independents, too. Having said that, this might seem to folks like a good idea in their minds. That doesn't mean it's addressing something that they necessarily think is widespread. So let me show you this. The idea, if we ask, do you think there's widespread or no voter fraud in U.S. elections, you get predominantly a partisan response. You get just over half of Republicans saying that. It's just over half. Even that, it's a majority, but it's not overwhelming, and then less so among the other parties.
Really interesting to see. So what do people think would happen if proof of citizenship would be required to register?
Okay, so the implications of that are different by party as well, because you get Dems a little more likely to say they think it'd be citizens, more citizens, prevented from voting, whereas Republicans more predominantly think that would be non-citizens prevented from voting. In this case, it would be illegal, right? So that's the difference in what they think the implications are coming out of this.
Interesting. And what do people think of the SAVE Act?
Okay, a lot of people say they don't know much about it, because there's a lot in it, right? So if you take a look, and I'll scroll over here, the favor or oppose on it, okay, that's a mix, but you get this big not sure. And the reason behind that is when you ask, okay, what do you think's in it? What do you know about it? You only get 15% that say they feel like they know a lot of the specifics. So look, these wider views about what happens in elections, about what happens in mail voting, we've seen that from Republicans.
Look, I don't know nothing about what's in the SAVE Act unless it has to do with voter ID. I don't like when they hide other stuff other than what they're originally asking for. So I'm going to have to go take some external reviews, and I'm going to have to review this on my own to see what's going on. But I will say this. We definitely need voter ID. We need a card or something. Maybe they can give it to us when we change our address with the DMV, because they already sent, like when I moved, they already sent me my new voter ID card, I guess, the registration card. They sent that in the mail. That means the DOT, whatever, when they send you your ID in the mail, they definitely know if you're a citizen or not. Just send it in the mail, and that's your verification right there. Make it simple. Because what's happening is, I think, is they're making the concept very complicated and hard to understand. And when you don't understand it, then everybody thinks it's like suppression. Now, look, let's have this harsh conversation, all right? Let's have a very harsh conversation. Is voter ID voter suppression? I want you guys to think, all right? If I don't know who you are, and let's just say it's already happening. Let's just say voter ID fraud is already happening. You don't have to go there with proper identification. And I say this because in the state of Illinois, I literally voted in the primary, and guess what they didn't do? They didn't ask me for my ID. You want to know something funny? I didn't live at the address that it said that I would live at. Now, look. I still live in the area that it says that I live in. I just don't live at that address. Did they verify that? No. So even if I change my address, it'll be the same district, everything. It's just the point that they did not ID me, which made it easy for me to manipulate the system. Does that make sense? So if I walk in, last name, okay, they gave me the first name. I didn't tell them they offered me the first name. I just gave them a last name. They offered me the first name, and I said, yes, it was my name, but what if it was not my name? It's my option. What if you told me I say last name and you just give me first name and I say yes and you say sign and I manipulate signature and put it on that's all there was to it. And I got right in and I was able to vote in the primary. Just like that. That's exactly how easy it was. No ID, no verification that I lived at the location that I was because I recently moved. So I'm like, if it's this easy, maybe they should know it's me because this is an American primary, which means this can knock people in and out the race. You know what I mean? There should be identification, at least to the slightest. At least if I can bring in my voter card, bring in what maybe on your real ID, they forced everyone to get real IDs. So in my perception, I think maybe you should put a extra star for the motherfuckers that are American citizens. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Something that makes it not super hard to identify, but at the same time, if I seen it, I think ID regardless is required. An identification regardless, like ID. But the real case is how do you determine if this person is an immigrant or not, or a legal immigrant, or not a citizen? Let's say that because you can be immigrant but be a citizen. How do you determine this person is a non-citizen? I think on their ID it should have like a star or something that is laminated into the ID to make it easy for the person that, and then they have their little blue light or whatever. They scan over the ID to make sure it's real, and this star dictates that this is a real ID because it is a real ID. You know what I mean? They forced everyone to get a real ID or use a passport. So the people that got the real ID that are citizens of the United States get this type of real ID with this stamp on it. And that's all you need. You send that identification in, you can vote in American elections. Now, let me tell you what happens when you don't check these type of things, like what's going on now. Well, let's just say you brought millions of people in this country under the radar and gave them regular identification, right? And then as long as they were a resident, which is not hard to do, and got a regular ID, they can vote and say you don't even have ID, you just registered to the address. You can now vote in American elections. That's why they have that in the state. So I'm gonna be honest, it is a form of cheating. Let's just say, would it make sense for non-American people, non-American citizens? You don't even have to be American. Well, a citizen, non-citizens to vote into American policies, which means they make the rules for you, even though they're not citizens in this country. I'll be honest, I'll take it a step further. This is my personal view too. So don't take it personal. It's my personal view. Don't take it personal. I think if you're not American, you shouldn't vote in American politics. Simple as that. I don't give a damn if you're a citizen or not. That's me though. That is me. Me personally, I think if you're not a born American, you shouldn't be able to vote in American politics and systems because then that means that you can come in our country and become a citizen and then change our politics up. And then now you're ruining our country from the inside out. That's what I think personally. That's me. Now, you don't have to go that extreme. You can just say one step, let's just be a citizen. That's fine. But if you're asking me and I'm in control, yeah, you must be an American. You know what I mean? So that being said, I want to know what y'all think about this concept because it's like this is something that really involves everybody, liberal, conservative. It doesn't really matter if you're in the middle, independent. It really doesn't matter. This is an extreme thing because this can sway either way due to the fact that it can be cheated. It's just like gerrymandering. It's almost cheating. Come on, let's be real. But it's legal cheating. But voter ID, that's something that should be secured. Everything requires ID. So I think since everything requires ID, I think at least to vote in American elections that dictate if you're going to have a certain mayor, governor, U.S. Senate, House of Representatives, you get what I'm saying? Like, treasurers. I think this should be very secured. Like, it shouldn't no non-citizen should get through this at all. I think from the gate this should be secured. Like it shouldn't even be any question about this. That's what I personally believe. There should be no question that you need to be at least a citizen of the United States, and you need to verify you're a citizen before you can vote. I don't see why people think that's suppression. There's no suppression there. If you're a citizen, you don't have nothing to worry about, right? It's just about proving it. So my theory about putting it on your real ID when you get your driver's license, because you're required to get the real ID or what? Passport. You get what I'm saying? So that being said, man, tell me what y'all think about this in the comment section. This is a real conversation I actually like to hear about, because people fight about this. They think it's suppression. No, bro. You're literally voting for the most powerful country in the world. and say you're not even American. You're just voting because the people in the country got agendas to replace the American people in the country. That's why I say you should only be a born American. Even if you snuck over here, you got to be a born American to vote in American politics. That's what I think. Shit, if we take it a step further, hey, you don't want to hear what I got to say about this. I don't think you should be in any elective seat unless you're a born American. Simple as that. Miss Omar. Yeah. Mandani. Yeah. You're out of here. And there's a lot more. I don't think if you're not a born American, you should be sitting in any seat that is for America and making decisions for America. Simple as that. I think that's just that simple. That's my vote. That's my perception, though. I might be a little bit extreme, or I might just hit the nail on the head here. You know what I mean? I want to pick your brains. I want you guys to think about this, because before we relinquish our freedoms to people that don't have born loyalty to your country, think about what you're doing before you're doing it. Don't think about voter suppression. Think about security within your nation. I want you to think about it like that, because that's actually what it is. Because just the way that, like how in our state of Illinois, how they can come in and vote, and then next you know it, randomly JB Prister has crazy canning votes for him, and you're like, this is a little suspect. This guy's literally put us in a $20 billion deficit. There's no way he's winning again. Look back at who's he's feeding in order to get those votes. That's all I'm saying. It's your boy Angel Savage. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. It's the Savage Report. Let's go.